Hello, my name is Gina, and someday I will think of a real intro. Today I'm going to be working with red shadows. The hope here is to just show people how to do a monochromatic look with something like a very strong color like red. Obviously, I really like red. So that's what we're going to be up to today. This is going to be a voiceover video just because I'm feeling pretty low energy this morning and I just kind of want to take it easy and do my makeup for fun. But I did want to kind of come on here on camera first to just give a sense of what we are doing. Some parts of my face this morning might look a little different than others. In this area and down here, I had some acne that I didn't want to be distracting, so I went ahead and covered it up, even though I tend to do my face makeup after my eye makeup. Finally, my brows are already done. With all of that said, let's just go ahead and get right into it.
Here are the shadows we're going to be working with today. Colored Raine's Vivid Pigment in Sauce, Ace Beaute Eyeshadow in Clay, Looxi Beauty Single Shadow in One Night Stand, Sparks from Morphe and Jaclyn Hill, and a loose pigment from Sigil Inspired called Entrepreneur. I'm taking a brush that's oblong and fluffy with sauce and doing the initial lay of color in my crease. Since my base is still pretty sticky, I'm using mostly patting motions with some sweep in the inner part of my eye. The fluff of the bristles is giving me a more diffused application than if I had gone in with a smaller or denser brush. I then follow up with buffing motions. After I did my other eye, I realized the shapes were pretty different, so I went back in and corrected my shape on the right eye a bit. Then, with a smaller, rounder brush that I'm realizing right there looks pretty gross, I'm going in with sparks on my inner and outer corner to create depth. With a flat, large shader brush, I'm taking One Night Stand, wetting it with some Fix Plus and patting that on the center of the eye. I didn't really like how my outer edges were blended, so I went back in with sauce with a more round brush to buff out the edges a little better. If you're using this as any kind of guide, I'd recommend starting out with a larger, round, fluffy brush rather than going in with a flatter one like I did. Hashtag no harsh lines. Speaking of which, I also wasn't happy with how my darker shades were blended, so I went back in and readdressed those too. In this section, you're going to see a lot of back and forth blending. How you go about this will vary in your own work, but for myself, I moved around between circular motions, patting motions, and windshield wipers until I get to where I'm happy with it. It's not an exact science. Once I was relatively satisfied with my crease and corners, I grabbed my glitter. This face is me opening the jar and spilling the glitter everywhere. I'm taking the Lit Cosmetics glitter glue and this ridiculously long paintbrush to apply my glitter. Whatever brush you use, you just dip it into the glue like a paint, then dab the brush into the glitter. This is my favorite glitter glue because it makes that application so much easier and there's little to no fallout. You may have noticed at some point along the way that my eyebrows are raised sky high through almost the entire video. This is not because I am permanently surprised, but in fact because my eyes are hooded, which you might have seen towards the beginning of the video. If I don't do this, most of my lid will be covered up by the skin on the upper part of my eye. because I do this, I can go in and pat out the glitter with my fingers to diffuse it a little bit. While that glitter glue is still a little wet, I'm going back in with my corner shade to feather out that blend. I'm doing this while the glitter glue is still a little tacky so that it will help the shadow stick to the glitter. Otherwise, if you've ever worked with glitter, the pigment would just fall off. I wasn't happy with the way the glitter was fading out on my left eye, so I actually took some of the glitter without any glue on a blending brush and just tapped it in up at the top. With the glitter more or less how I want it, I'm doing some more touch-ups to the blending of my matte shadows. After that, my eyes are done, so I'm gonna clean up all of this fallout. I like to take the Smashbox face primer, but you can use any kind of silicone primer, and I smear that all over where my fallout is. Then I take a Kleenex. Here, I'm just using a towel because I'm too lazy to get up, and wipe the fallout away. I prefer this method to micellar water or makeup remover because it's a lot easier on my skin when I'm not using a towel and doesn't impact the makeup that I want to put down later. But yeah, use a Kleenex. I did my foundation off camera to let my battery charge a bit and then started in on the lower lash line. I took sparks on a small fluffy blender and just brought that all along my lower lash line and smoked it out a ton. Then that wasn't quite overkill enough for me, so I took sauce with a larger brush and did the exact same thing. I packed on some sparks on the outer part of my lower lash line, then took a fluffy brush with no product to blend it all out again. With a flat lower lash line brush, I'm taking a darker red-brown called Cypress Tree from Beaute and putting that right up on my lash line. Next, I contemplated the nature of my existence, which I often do when I'm getting ready in the morning. Having gotten all that figured out, I then took this stunning pigment from Sigil called Matriarch for my inner corner. I used Too Faced glitter glue this time as it allows for a bit more control on application, and I patted that on my inner corner with my pinky finger. Then I took my pigment with my small blender and just patted that right on, and it looks so good. I had to edit out the look on my face when it applied or I would have gotten demonetized. It's so, so beautiful. I decided that the dark on my lower lash line needed to be buffed out a bit. So I took a little bit more Cypress Tree on my dense round mini brush and smudged that out on there. What's that you say? More glitter? Yes, this is a heart-shaped glitter from SuperGlitters. I decided I was feeling a little fanciful that morning, so I'm gonna put these on my brow bone as my brow bone highlight. To do this, I took a fine tipped round paintbrush with just that Lip Cosmetics glitter glue and dotted it on my brow bone. Then I picked up one of the heart pieces on my finger and placed it right where the glue was. Once the other side was done, my battery died, which is sad, but at least it waited until the other side was done. I took the opportunity to go ahead and do the rest of my face makeup off camera, and this gets us to the finished look. I really enjoyed this. I struggle with halo eyes a bunch, and I feel like this was a great way for me to practice and work on that technique. We're gonna do a little bit of slow-mo looking at my face for a few seconds, and I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. It is one of my first here on YouTube. If you'd like to follow me more, you can always subscribe here, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. I'm also on Instagram at Faces by Gina, and I would love to interact with you there. Let me know what you thought of my video down in the comments, and I will catch you around the internet. Bye.